All right, guys, welcome. Appreciate y'all showing up to the first edition of Foreign and Domestic. And if you can't tell, I'm the foreigner, he's the domestic. Appreciate y'all showing up to the first edition of Foreign and Domestic. And if you can't tell, I'm the foreigner, he's the domestic.
I need to get, holy crap, I had this all set up. All righty. Hope everybody's doing well. Glad everybody was able to show up. Yep, very first edition of Foreign and Domestic. I am the one everybody calls AllenBePro. I'm glad that everybody was able to come by.
Awesome to see everybody in the slide chat. Filling up pretty quick. It's awesome. We're just going to talk guns, gear, and everything in between.
Yeah, I got us a Curious Yellow Solar out there. Keith Gregory, Revolver 8 Shot, if I can speak him properly. Rich, 4150. Robin Jones is out there. Glad to see everybody there today. Got a few different minor topics. We don't have anything set in stone, but there is a couple of things that we'd like to kind of go over a little bit this evening.
So I'll get it started, guys. First off, I'm going to show you a little sneak peek. So you guys know I got 3 holsters from Ronin Weaponry, and I haven't shown you the third one yet. So you guys are going to get a sneak peek. This one is for my CZ. You guys can see that. It is another level 2 holster, and I'll be doing a review on this one here pretty soon. But there you go, guys. That's the one I got from my CZ. Pretty badass.
So, have you spent any time wearing that one yet, Scotty?
Actually, I had to send that one back to get some work done. There was an issue with it, which I'll discuss when I review it. But I had to send it back, and I got it back within about a week. It was pretty quick.
So, a very nice looking holster. Very nice looking holster. He's putting out some sweet product. I don't normally carry outside the waistband, but with it getting into winter, I've been looking around over there.
Yeah, he does a really good job. He stays in touch with you the entire time throughout the process. He's been good, man. He probably texts me at least once a week, see how things are going, make sure they're all working good still. So he follows up on his product.
Well, speaking of following up on product, some of you may know that I had a buffer that had exploded in this within the very first 100 rounds. Now, the buffer tube, all that came from Trinity Force Tactical. And I had contacted Trinity Force Tactical on the 12th of this month and told them their buffer exploded on me within the first 75 rounds. They said, okay, send me an email. I'll shoot you out another one. Well, a few days ago, I emailed them again. I said, I haven't received the buffer. Have you sent it out to me? And I still had gotten no contact from them. So at this point, I was just like, okay, well, I'm getting ready to blast this company a new asshole. And I've got a few parts on this particular rifle that's Trinity Force Tactical. I've actually got a couple other minor little parts that are Trinity Force Tactical coming on this particular weapon. The sights on this weapon are Trinity Force Tactical. The buffer tube and buffer was Trinity Force Tactical. I've got a foregrip that's coming that's theirs. And I'm about ready to tear this one a new one. So I called them again today and spoke with one of the executive operator assistants, the same guy that I've been in communication with the whole time. And he said that he will get a hold of their their department and look into it and make sure that they hadn't actually sent one. And if they had sent one, they would send me a tracking. So they sent me another tracking link, and that they're going to be sending out another one. So at this point, over 2.5 weeks later, when they promised to send me a new buffer, they haven't even sent it out. So Trinity Force Tactical, originally their customer service seemed like it was going to be pretty tight, but at this point, I wouldn't put any more money towards Trinity Force Tactical, folks.
Did you order that one link I sent you?
That one I actually had to hold off a little bit because I was waiting for my paycheck to hit. But that is what's going to end up in this particular rifle. The other thing that I ended up getting for it, just prior to you actually sending me that link, was something that Codaboy 32 had told me about it, and a Valtor buffer. So I ordered this foregrip and a Valtor buffer and a couple other things from the Monster Optics Planet. Now, I've done a number of orders through Optics Planet since I moved last into the place where I'm at now. And every single order that I have placed with Optics Planet doesn't ship out and doesn't ship out. And a week and a half later, I have to call them and they go, "Oh yeah, that just came in today and we're going to send that out to you." So I am still waiting on my order from Optics Planet. So at this point, I literally have been dealing with 2 different companies. Yes, Wicked, the JP silent capture buffer is getting ordered, and it's getting ordered tonight because my check came in. So you don't need to scream at me. It's all right. That silent buffer is coming, is getting ordered this evening. But Optics Planet has really been kind of dragging their heels every single time I place an order.
It sounds like you need to stop ordering online.
I would love to be able to do that. But the fact of the matter is I live in a one-horse town. So for me to get anything, I literally have to go to a gun show, and then they're always jacked up on prices. So yeah, for me to, I pretty much have to order online or have my friends search it for me and find me some kind of halfway deal somewhere else.
Yep.
So yeah, I've been dealing a lot with some bad ordering or orders not getting shipped to me. It's been half a nightmare. Luckily, I did have a spikes buffer just sitting around to throw into it. So it has been operable. Not that I've given any updates on my channel or anything. I haven't showed doing any shooting with it, even though at this point it has about 1,000 rounds through it. It has been operable.
Good to know, man. Good to know. You got anything coming up on your channel this week?
I don't have anything actually set in stone. I've got a very hectic week coming up at work, and am going to be doing a little bit of house sitting for some relatives. But another one of the things that I've been involved with is trying to get people connected up together for what some of you might know as Never Enough Ammo started a 2A rally. It's called the 2A Rally 2017. And one of the people that are involved in that is the person that's involved with the 2A Rally 17 point man for South Carolina. So if you're anywhere near Charlotte, I believe it's Charlottesville. or Charleston. I can't quite remember off the top of my head. If any of you are in the South Carolina area, I posted the link in the side chat for the 2A Capital Rally 2017. But if you're in the South Carolina area, please contact me, and I can put you in contact with the point man for South Carolina. If you haven't heard about the 2A Rally 2017, follow the link in the side chat to the Facebook page for the 2A Capital Rallies. Other than that, one of the things that did happen today for me on my channel is my channel became monetized. I opened up my video manager, and sure enough, I've got some type of monetization. And I kind of chuckled because I got a green one, and then a yellow one, a green one, a green one, a yellow one, a yellow one. So the day that YouTube monetizes my channel, I've got quite a number of videos that are demonetized. Well, this doesn't really surprise me. I could really care less if they're going to pay me for my stuff. That's not why I'm on YouTube in any way, shape, or form. But the things that they demonetized me was what was interesting. On some of the live streams that I've done, there's been a controversial talk and very colorful language and such. But that's not the ones that they demonetized. One of the videos that they demonetized was one of my recent videos on how to ship your SIG P320 back to SIG. There's nothing controversial about it. There's no cursing in it. So it makes absolutely no sense to me. I found it pretty amusing. They demonetized the very first video that I put on YouTube, which was an EDC video. I found that really amusing. It just, the oddities. It was just completely odd, the things that they demonetized. So I didn't protest any of them or anything. I got a good laugh at it. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, man. I never bothered doing that just because I don't want to have to deal with fighting it left, right, and center, because they'll demonetize everything. And for the little money they pay, it's not worth it.
Well, yeah, of course it would get paid. It'd be nice to get paid for doing your hobby. But I do this as my hobby. This is what I do in my off time, other than shooting and cleaning my guns and dry fire practice. It's just something that I do in my off time. I wouldn't ever expect anybody to pay for somebody else's hobby. And when I started YouTube, somebody asked me, "Oh, well, won't you get paid for that?" And I said, well, if I do, I would be really surprised, and I'll never expect it. I've got no inclination of ever getting paid for doing something on YouTube. It amazes me how many dirt road gun shows put out a video about this crowdfunding stuff, and I agreed with him 100% on his video. Yet I do know quite a number of channels that use crowdfunding and so forth. And to each their own. I could care less. I'm more than happy to set those kinds of issues aside, as long as we could band together to protect our Second Amendment rights. And that's ultimately that's what my line of thinking is. You guys can go out and get your Patreon or Patreons or whatever it is. Go get your crowdfundings. Get people to sign up for subscriptions, whatnot. I don't care. As long as we can all agree that we need to do something to protect our Second Amendment rights on a consistent basis, I'll associate with them.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I agree.
I agree with you 100%. I'm not for it myself, but you know, if for anyone that helps the Second Amendment, absolutely.
Oh, Big Johnson says that he's got 20 vids that are demonetized, and they're even running ads on his demonetized vids. And that's the thing, is they'll go ahead and demonetize them, and they'll keep running ads anyway. If you uncheck the box that says to not monetize, they're still going to run ads on it anyway. So it doesn't matter if you're set up to monetize or not. YouTube's going to run ads on them anyway. That's how they make their money. And everybody knows YouTube is a losing option for Google. They're not making money off of YouTube.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right, man. I mean, it was probably about 2 months ago or so. Forget who it was. I think it was who was that? I think it was Smile Money that said, "Congrats to being monetized and making money." And I'm like, dude, I ain't monetizing nothing. But there's still ads playing. That's just how YouTube rolls, man. Screw the little guy and make their own.
Yeah, I think if I'm understanding Scab Ugly out there on the side chat, 100% of his videos have been demonetized, and rightfully so, Scab, rightfully so.
I would just take him off YouTube.
Well, yeah, that's kind of a slippery slope. If we took him down, then we may not see his wife. So we don't want to ban. We don't even want his live streaming abilities shut down, because then we lose the opportunity to possibly see his wife.
It's a good point. Very good point. So I do have a couple videos coming out this week. One of which was a request from Blue823. So most of you guys have probably seen the videos where I was teaching Daniel how to shoot with a revolver in order to improve his sight picture for a semi-auto. Blue823 wanted to get a little bit more in depth as to how that worked. So I'm going to do an in-depth video on front sight only and front sight only acquisition and how to do that and how it works. So that'll be coming out sometime this week when I got a little bit more time, and I'll try and figure out the best way to set that one up.
Yeah, that's quite interesting. It made a clear, obvious difference in his accuracy with handguns. I don't doubt his accuracy at all with a rifle or even a bow. But to see where he started with, and just a little tiny tweaking, that's all it really seemed like you had to do, is give him just a couple of hints, a little tiny tweaking, and his accuracy increased tenfold.
Yeah, and that was it. I took away the rear sight. I changed his grip a little bit, and I told him to concentrate on his trigger, and his trigger reset because he kept slapping the trigger. And once he started focusing on those things, you just saw those groups getting tighter and tighter. And that was literally within a 2-hour period. So it really wasn't that long a time at all.
So, Scotsman, I have kind of an oddball question. The leftists are always talking about this national registry thing, creating a national registry. It's something that's definitely opposed on the far right. is a national registry. Now, I know that if I did not have my concealed weapons permit, a phone call would have to be placed into the NICS system. My information gets added. The information of the weapon gets added. The FBI has this information because they were just given that information. Is that creating some type of national registry right there?
So it's a really good question. Yes and no. So to a degree, yes, they have the information. They don't retain all of that information. What they retain is the firearm information and where it came from. So who sold it. They don't have the right to retain your information. So if anyone knows, basically we have to, as dealers, keep them for 20 years. Keep your form for 20 years. And then it goes to, well, in our respect, it goes to corporate, and corporate then keeps it from then on. If for whatever reason they need that information, they send what's called a trace request, and they'll either call the store or they'll send an email to the store and say, hey, we need such and such information on this gun. It was sold on this date. And then we have to pull that form and send that form to them.
So basically, so that they don't violate the Fourth Amendment, they can't keep a record of this constant. Only can this information be looked for if there is a crime that has been committed.
Yep, essentially, yeah. They keep the firearm information on hand. Everything else they do not have to keep on hand. They essentially get rid of it to a degree. It's an instant thing, and then the rest of it are you have it. It is kind of registered in a way, but in order to get the information of actually who has it, they have to request that form.
And that's something that you basically have to jump on that information just as soon as you get the clearance to give them that information. You have to give them that information like yesterday, right?
Within 2 hours. You got 2 hours to get it to them. From the minute I receive that email or the minute I receive that phone call, I have the 2 hour window starts ticking. And it may be different elsewhere. That's just where I work. We have a 2 hour window, but it could be different elsewhere.
Booty Butt Jones says, I guarantee that they have lists somewhere. I almost feel the same way. I don't. It's really, really hard for me to believe that all this information gets sent to the government and they don't hold on to it. They don't keep track of it.
Well, put it this way: they don't publicize it. They don't publicize it. Put it that way. I don't know if they hang on to it. I would reckon they do, but they don't publicize the fact that they do.
Yeah, I'm obviously I'm definitely opposed to it. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I know in my state with my concealed carry permit, I get a background check run on me frequently. They just do it, and that's how they're able to get away with the things they're able to get away with. Another one of the things that happens in my state is you have to get a permit to purchase. So if you want to buy a pistol or revolver, anything related as a handgun, you have to get a permit to purchase. And so the background check is run prior to you going to get the weapon. And then if you sit down with your dealer to buy the weapon, then he's got to call it into the NICS system. So you get another background check done at that time. The background checks are being done frequently for those that have a permit to carry. But the ones that have permit to purchase, the background check is only done when you get the permit to purchase.
Yeah, and it varies state by state. New York's worse, obviously. Massachusetts, Maine, all of those places are horrible. New Jersey, those are all pretty bad, and there's a lot more restrictions on how you purchase.
Well, one of the advantages in my state in having a concealed weapons permit is you don't have to have the permit to purchase also. It covers that as well. And Keith Gregory says in Kentucky they run a background check every 30 days if you've got a CCW, and I believe it's the same way here in Iowa.
Yeah, I believe that's a standard for a CCW.
You know, so when the left talks about, oh, we need more background checks, they have no idea the amount of people that are getting background checks run on them on a regular basis. It's just constant, and you know, to have more background checks, how are they going to even come up with more background checks? It doesn't add up to me.
The system is already overloaded where it literally crashes all the time because there's just so many background checks being ran during a week.
Dirt Road Gun Show says that his background check is he walks in to buy a weapon. They say, oh, we see you make a whole bunch of dangerous gun videos with millions of views. You're approved.
It's one way to do it.
I would figure Big Johnson would be the same way, except they just wouldn't say anything. They'd go, here you are, sir. But that only comes in. He goes to the back door. Yeah, he's doing stuff out the back door, right? So yeah, we've got a nice group of people up in the room this evening. One of the things that we have not done yet is a gun check. So what you got sitting next to you there, Scotsman?
I got the CZ and I got the Model 29.
Well, for a blued gun, that thing is damn shiny.
For as old as this thing is, it is in perfect condition. This thing is from the 70s. And it is in beautiful shape.
Yeah, I think my aunt had one just like that. She was a former police officer, and I think that was her carry weapon. She'd leave it on her nightstand, and as a kid, she'd tell me, don't sneeze too close to it.
You got to watch the single action triggers, man. The single action triggers are sharp on these guns.
I've got the P320 sitting up next to me, and I also got the black rifle sitting here, which it's going to get a couple more parts, but I don't know. I'm going to end up stripping off some of these parts and replacing them with other stuff, just because at this point, Trinity Force Tactical has really rubbed me the wrong way.
Yeah, it sounds like it. They're not doing a very good job of customer service, that's for sure.
You know, they talked a big game. They actually talked a really big game, and yes, Bad Billy, this one just got back from SIG, and so it is drop safe. SIG, on the other hand, they took care of me. SIG did exactly what they were going to do, and it took them a significantly less amount of time for them to do it.
If I remember right, it was 2 days. 2 days.
It might have taken about 2 days. and I'm not the only one. I've got a number of people that have posted on that video and told me that their turnaround times are exactly the same. They're watching them hit the SIG factory, and 2 days later, SIG is sending them out. And so SIG has really gotten on the ball with this program, and they're really taking care of people. And so I'll just say, anybody out there that's got the P320s, get them in. It's not going to take no 4 to 6 weeks like everybody's saying. It turned out really nice. It turned out real nice. SIG's taking care of everybody.
Yeah, I've never had any issues with them over the years whatsoever. They've always been good. Taurus, on the other hand, and some other companies like that, they are ridiculously slow, and they will not take your phone calls. They're just horrendous to deal with. Car Arms is probably the worst.
Yeah, I've heard bad things about Car Arms. I've heard really bad things about Taurus, Keltec. I've heard just horrendous things about Keltec. I actually have not owned any of them. I can imagine Taurus would be bad. They're all made in Brazil, aren't they?
Yep.
Aren't firearms illegal in Brazil?
It's funny how they make their money, though.
Yeah.
Of course, they ship them all over here, and then we got to ship them back for repair to the U.S. plants.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but horrible things about Taurus. Every now and then, I've heard that people get good ones. But I think the percentages are much higher that you're going to get a piece of shit when it comes to Taurus.
Pretty sure we got Rich out there, 1%er. That's about the amount you're going to get of a good one coming out of Taurus.
Well, Red October posted Ruger took care of me within 2 weeks, paid for the shipping, updates on his parts, and I used to live a short amount of ways from Ruger in Arizona, and those people take care of you. Ruger's real stand up on their customer service. I have actually over the years I've sent 3 different weapons into Ruger. And this is a very small percentage of the Rugers that I've owned throughout the years. But Ruger has taken care of me every single time, done it right the first time. I've had real good luck with Ruger over the years.
Ruger is awesome. Every time I've called them, they've always taken care of everything. The last time I called them, it was for a screw on the stock, and they sent me a whole brand new stock.
That's impressive. I mean, that's the type of things that people get when they deal with Ruger. I've gotten nothing but good things that I've heard from people that have had to turn a lot of their stuff into Ruger, except for one guy. I forget the name of his channel, but he had bought one of the newer LCP2s and was having problems with it, sent it back to Ruger after discovering that it was a trigger in the spring unit. And Ruger sent him out the new spring. He's a gunsmith. And so he replaced it, still ended up having a problem with it, sent it back to Ruger. They sent it back to him. It worked great for the first 75 rounds, and then he started having problems with it again. Now, I don't know anything about the LCP2s just because I have never owned one, but that's the only sad story that I've heard.
Yeah, I've always had good luck with them. Like I said, I've never had any real issues at all.
Oh, they're saying you having problems with your mic or something out there?
And then it keeps getting an echo. I'm not sure what's going on with it.
Well, Big Johnson says that customer service at Smith & Wesson is good as well. Have you ever had to deal with customer service with Smith & Wesson?
Smith & Wesson has always been good to me. Like I said in the video I did for my Model 60, when I called about the pins, I was willing to pay for them. They just sent them for free. They didn't fit, but they still sent me for free.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but those pins did not fit that particular weapon. That's pretty bad when a company can't figure out which pins to send you.
Well, here's the thing, and Mr. Holster said this too, is they have made so many variations over the years, they don't know which one it is. They get lost in which part to send out. So sometimes you have good luck, sometimes you have bad luck, but their customer service is always excellent. On a good note, though, I do have a pin that fits thanks to a fellow YouTuber, and I will be getting that installed here pretty soon, and I will be doing a video on it.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you've ever actually gotten that one dialed in or not. You ended up having to roll your own pin, or?
Tool Monkey was nice and took care of that for me. He sent me a whole bunch of different pins, and the first pin I cut out and took out slides right on into the frame, no issues. I just got to drill the sight just a little bit more. The hole's not quite big enough, and then a little bit of Loctite, slap it together, and it'll be good to go.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Tool Monkey, I don't care what TR says. Tool Monkey's a good guy.
He's a good guy, man. He was quick too. I had that in a week. He was pretty quick.
Yep, that's what she said. Speaking of TR, one of the things that got brought up on TR's chat is marijuana and firearms. They started in, you guys started talking about felonies and people getting their gun rights back if they had like non-violent felonies. In particular, it was a felony arrest for having too much marijuana. Now, even on the forms to buy a weapon, it specifies marijuana. Am I wrong?
No, it does specify it right on there. And if you come into the store and you try to buy one and you smell like it, I got to deny you right there and then.
WTF SoCal says that in California, if you have a pop card, you can't buy a gun. And I know this is also the case in a number of different states where they have medical issue. And I can understand that, that puts you into a registry. Another registry that the government shouldn't have, because that dives into medical issues. And if you're unfamiliar with the term HIPAA, it's a violation of HIPAA. And so I think that it's illegal for the government to be able to say, oh, well, you have a medical marijuana card, we're not going to allow you your Second Amendment rights.
To a degree, I agree with you, and to a degree, I don't. If they are, using it beyond medical use, then yeah, no, absolutely not. If they're just if they are using it for strictly medical use and not overdoing it, and not jumping in a car and driving completely freaking up their mind, I don't see why not. As long as they're keeping it within, a good borderline.
Well, and the problem with Blue mentioned this also in the chat, that I see the problem is the under the influence factor. There's no way to be able to test for current levels of THC in the system. You can tell that somebody has been smoking. You can tell a certain amount of nanogram levels. Commercial truck drivers have to be able to pass a 0.05 nanogram level because there is a very minute trace that is naturally produced in the body. But to be able to pull somebody over and give them a piss test on the side of the road or whatever is something that just is not available. There's no such test out there to be able to tell if somebody is using marijuana right now, like there is like a breathalyzer test.
Yeah, not that I know of.
And there's a lot of the talk in the side chat on felons regaining their gun rights after they have paid their debts. Now, I can agree to a certain extent. I do believe that certain felonies, there should be absolutely nothing at all to do with your gun rights, because those felonies, literally, they're not non-violent felonies. Just because this guy was 19 years old and he got popped for walking down the street with too much marijuana in his backpack, he's not allowed to have guns the rest of his life. It's just absurd in my world. But that's the world that we live in. Completely non-violent felonies, I don't think should have any pretense in any way, shape, or form on taking your rights from you.
Yeah, I mean, if it's not violent crime, I really don't see too much of an issue. Depending on what the crime is, obviously, but it's an ongoing battle back and forth. It's a hard one to kind of talk about because I see a lot of different things in the shop, so I got to be careful with that one. It's a hot topic, so.
Well, one of the things that's equated is alcohol, and I really don't like putting alcohol in the same box as marijuana. I just don't. But even me as a carrier, I cannot carry my weapon into a bar. That's just part of having a concealed weapons permit. If I am discovered to have any amount of alcohol in my system, my concealed weapons permit is null and void while I'm under the influence of alcohol. And so I can understand, I live downstairs, I live above a bar. If I want to go drink in the bar, I have to leave my weapons up in my house.
Yeah, and that's the same in a lot of states. I know when I was up in Minnesota with Eric, he says all the time, if he plans on drinking, automatically he can't take his gun in the bar. If he is not drinking, though, he is allowed to have his gun in there. And it just varies state by state.
Now, it's legal for me to drink and go inside a post office, but I can't carry a firearm into a post office. Luckily, I live in a small town, and I don't have to take a drink before I walk into a post office. But walking into our Walmart, I don't know. I might need a Quaalude before I walk into that place.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Yeah, quite a few people out there right now.
So does anybody in the side chat have a question for the crazy Scotsman? We'll find out here. I don't know. I
and
think they're
everyone
all too
goes
busy
silent.
talking to each other. It's they can care less what we're talking about.
Yeah, it's just a time for them to get together. That's all. Yeah, I know, KB. I know. Sorry, man. I don't tan. I burn. There is no tan in here, man. Straight up burn.
Has the crazy Scotsman been to Iowa? Not a state that you've been through, has it?
I have driven through there. I have not actually stopped there, but I have driven through there at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Well, you didn't miss much, unless you like looking at corn. Uh, we have a little bit of that around here, but if you're a deer hunter, this is a good place to be.
Big J, I couldn't tell you, man. I have no clue.
I think it's about the same amount of that it takes to cover the entire Empire State Building with pancakes. So, yeah, Tom. Luckily, nobody does stop in Iowa. They keep going through. It's a good thing for me. I'm just antisocial, so.
Yeah, when I went through there, it was definitely, if I remember right, it was about 2 o'clock in the morning because I actually ended up in a ditch. I tried turning into a gas station and didn't quite catch the turn, and they apparently had a small ditch in front of there, and yeah, I went right into it.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
What state are you in
big.
there?
I have a set of pings.
Yeah, we've got a couple of Iowans out here in the chat. We also have a blue 823 out here. Everybody watch your ducks in a row. He's got himself handcuffs.
Blue's a good guy. There's Ed. What's up, Ed? I don't know what was going on with the link tonight, man. We'll get you fixed up next time. Anyone have a question for AllenBePro? Since you already threw out a half a dozen questions for me, let's see if we got any for him.
That question, Scab, actually, how do you conceal when you wear a kill? There's actually a couple of different ways to conceal when you're wearing a kill. You can do what I normally do, which is wear in the waistband. That works really, really easy. If you're wearing a traditional kilt, there is a bag that you normally carry that goes around the waist and sits right above your junk. And if you like, you can actually put a piece right in that bag. But for me, when I wear my kilts, I'm wearing inside the waistband. When I was living in Arizona, it was always outside the waistband though. And I'd have people step up and give me crap for wearing a kilt, and I'm like, you're real intelligent for coming up and giving somebody crap wearing a kilt that's also got a gun.
That's it. They never know what's under the kilt, so don't mess around with us.
You could wear a garter style holster, like Bad Billy's saying. You know, wear a garter and on the inside of the leg there, but I didn't really find that. It was slightly chafing. I don't know, Mr. 1% out there wonders next time I'm going to do free for all. I don't have one set itinerary. The free-for-alls are usually impromptus, and if you ever come across the free-for-alls, most of those are not suitable for viewing. More or less, some of the subject matter you don't want your kids anywhere near around. Just so everybody knows, if you happen to see a free-for-all with my name on it, just be expecting colorful and language and so forth, because they get a little wild sometimes. While wearing a kilt, Scotsman, if somebody asks you, what are you wearing underneath your kilt, what is your response?
It's a good question. I've never actually had anyone ask me.
That's surprising. That's like the number one question that I get asked when I'm wearing a kilt. It really depends upon who asks me the question. Sometimes if it's a, just kind of a decent looking gal, I'll just tell her that good girls ask and bad girls know. Another one of my common responses to what are you wearing underneath your kilt is shoes and socks. So yeah, to me, that's like one of the most asked questions.
Maybe it's just a beard, man. I don't know. Just scares them off.
Yeah, I actually haven't worn any kilts since I've been in Iowa, and I've been missing them. And I'm pretty sure that I will have more kilts by next summer. But we're going into winter season now, and I don't think I'm going to be wearing the kilts here in Iowa during winter season.
Yeah, it gets a little chilly.
Bad Billy said, if I wore a kilt, it would be free balling for sure. Well, Bad Billy, I'll tell you what, if you wear something underneath your kilt, you might as well call it a skirt.
True. Very true.
Yeah, I've had a lot of interesting conversations with people about men wearing kilts, and around the parts that I live now, I'm pretty sure that it would be a subject of question for numerous people. People would part like the Red Sea. They see me walking down the street in a kilt, I'm pretty sure.
Tom's got a good response out there for the women anyway. Show me yours and I'll show you mine.
Yeah, Tom Olofson says that there's a guy making tactical kilts, and I've seen some of those tactical kilts. I kind of dig them. One of the main companies that I used to get all my kilts from was Utilakilts. They started in the same area of California that I used to live in, and then they moved up to Seattle, Washington. They're strictly utility kilts, and the guy turns out some absolutely phenomenal things. They're not like full-on traditional kilts. I don't have a family tartan to go by, so I'm not being sacrilege when I wear just miscellaneous colors or camo kilts or anything of the sort.
Yeah, I've seen those utility kilts. I've never bought one, but I've seen them.
Bad Billy, is there any Mexicans in Iowa? Well, I use Spanish at my job at least twice a day. Yeah, we have a lot of Mexicans here in Iowa as well. They're just part of American culture now, or part of the American body.
Yeah, it's always a challenge selling guns to them for sure, especially if they do not speak any English whatsoever. Because trying to find a translator in the store is almost impossible.
Well, I have to admit, I'm not fluent in Spanish. I do know quite a bit of Spanish, but the times where I have to deal with Spanish speaking customers, I really make them work for it. I'll act like I don't know exactly what they're saying. When I know exactly what they're saying, I'm just trying to make it a little bit difficult on them so that they understand that they have to learn more of the language. The fact is I wouldn't go into Mexico and not learn some Spanish. I wouldn't go into Germany without learning German. I wouldn't go into China without learning some Chinese. And so what would make you think to go into some country and not learn some of the language? I don't get it. So I might be able to complete their transaction enough to complete their transaction for them, but I do make it a little difficult on them.
I don't blame you. It's always a challenge for sure. I mean, hell, even when I came here, I had to change kind of how I talked because they couldn't understand a word I said. So probably still can't half of them, but that's all right.
Oh well, yeah. I'm not sure if you've ever spoke with somebody from Australia and they technically speak English. Well, it's all in the conversation, eh? And it's just like, what? Let me drink like 4 more stouts. I might understand you.
Pretty much.
Well, guys, we've been going in America.
What's that?
What we speak here in America is just a dialect of English. We don't actually speak proper English here.
Yeah, your spelling's all fucked up too. Anytime I write correct English, people look at it because there's extra letters in there. It's not the bastardized, Americanized English.
Well, if I walked into a convenience store in the middle of London and asked for a rubber, what do you think I'm going to get? I'm going to be handed an eraser. It's not going to accomplish the same thing that I would be looking to accomplish if I was here in America.
True. Very true. All right, guys. We've been going almost an hour now, so we're going to wrap this up. We're just going to do an hour tonight. It's been a long few days for me. I'm not sure how it's been for Alan, but for me, it's been a long few days. So going to go ahead and wrap this up. Alan, you got anything you want to say before we close it out?
No, everybody hit up the 2A Rally 2017. I'll go ahead and throw that link to the Facebook page there. If you happen to be in South Carolina, give me a shout. I have a gentleman that is the point man for South Carolina that I'd like to get your information to him. It's not going to be something extremely all that difficult. They're looking for people to just show up at the Capitals on the 5th. So it's an absolutely awesome thing that's happening, and would definitely like to see more people join in on that. I might be turning out a couple of videos for companies that need to be avoided. And with that, keep the magazines loaded and one in the chamber.
All right, guys. Appreciate it on the side chat. We will see you all next week. Next week will be on Alan's channel. Again, really appreciate it all, and we'll talk to you soon. Later, guys.